Well, this was last night's Santa, and he's got a wicked look about him. As I said when I started the video last night, would you sit on his knee? I wouldn't sit on his knee, let alone a child. Santa's not supposed to be wicked, though. It's a bit of a Grinch type of Santa, I think. Right, I'm doing it live. If it fails, you suddenly get a black screen, then I'm recording it anyway, so I'll upload it. But generally, these things just last for about 5-10 minutes, and if that, and then fail. So it's just YouTube not being. It's not really. I don't think they've got the capacity anymore. It's doing lives on YouTube is not a reality. Anyway, so I'm going to do another Santa. Seeing as it seems it's that season, so I'm going to draw this Santa. Right. I might just draw Santa every day. That might be the objective. Cheating. Now then. Now, I don't think there's any kind of thing you can do that's cheating in terms of doing this. If you want to trace it, project it, whatever. I'm not really. I have no problems with any of that. I mean, I told you before, when as an illustrator, I had traced everything. It was not. I was going to just, I got a job to do, and I want to get home, so I got deadlines and stuff. So yeah, trace it. So no, not messing about. Photocopies that could enlarge and reduce were just like, this is prior to computers and scanners and things. But photocopies that could reduce and enlarge. I'm struggling. Were a godsend to me. But as I say, I'm no problem with it. I don't think I see people talking about it. I don't think if it gets what you need done, then it can't be cheating, I suppose, in a way. But having said that, it's only cheating if it's breaking the rules, and there are no rules, so there's no cheating. So I just think, yeah, whatever. But this is the caveat, right? This is all about observation, right? And the better you develop your observational skills across the board, whether it's position of things or whether it's the color of things, the tonal value of things, whatever it is, whatever your observation is critical to those things. And if you at some point, and I've seen people do this, and I saw the famous charcoal artist doing this, kind of half draw it and then use a tracing of the original to compare it to see whether or not you're anywhere near it. You kind of, I mean, obviously you get to a point where it's a perfect match, and this individual did do that. But what I'm saying is that you can get to rely on that. You can get to rely on that thing, that mechanical check-in process, in order to fix, if you like, your errors. But the thing is that two things is that you're not helping. You're cheating yourself with that, because you're not helping yourself to develop properly. You're just relying on this thing that's going to fix your errors. So, and the second thing about that is errors are good. Errors are often the things that make what you do special. And recognizing the errors for their value as opposed to their the damage, or whatever you want to say about the way that they manifest. Recognizing the value of errors is a real big thing for me. I think that it's the main thing is this developing your observational skills properly, because it's it affects everything. That's the main thing. But this error thing, and I've talked about errors before, the mistake thing. You've got to embrace the mistakes, and that for me is the other side to it. You don't know, when. I mean, the typical thing is that the marks that you make. if they're contrived to be so precise and so deliberate that they have no variance or no life in them. This is the thing. If you want a portrait that's full of life, there has to be life in the marks that you make. It's as simple as that. It's the reason why people like the looser kind of treatment of oil portraits, because of the life in the marks. And those, if you're just going to do some kind of outline, which is then going to be qualified by a piece of tracing paper or a device of some kind. I mean, I in the past have taken pictures of things and taken it to Photoshop and overlaid it. And people can do that. You can do that to check whether or not you've got things in the right place. Not a good idea. Sometimes things being in the right place isn't a good thing, which is almost like a contradiction. But it is. It's not really. Sometimes because of the way that we do this, we sort of emphasize things because of what we see, the way we feel about it. It's more like this. It's more like their nose is bigger than that, but it's not. It's not bigger than that. It's just you make it feel bigger than that. The way that you respond to it increases the size of it, and then increases the character of the thing that you're trying to capture, the face you're trying to capture. So there's all kinds of reasons why sometimes being deadly accurate is not a good idea. But if you're just talking about the observational and replicational side of it, then having good observation, accurate observation that helps you see the shapes, the lines, the tones, the colors, that's really what you need to develop. So anything that's going to impede that development is a bad idea, even if it ultimately means that you get things exactly where they should be and so on and so forth. As I say, you're kind of cheating yourself with that. It's not cheating, but it's cheating yourself out of proper development. But that, as I said, if you just want to copy things, if you just want to copy a face, then I don't think there's anything wrong with using devices or methods like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with actually projecting onto a canvas and things. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The other thing about the other side of that, if you do project or draw and then project or trace, draw and then trace onto a canvas, the skills that you use to see the colors and see the tones on the face are still based in that observational drawing kind of skill, be able to see things. So the marks that you make, even though this started out as a tracing, even though of a drawing that you did, obviously, but even though it started, you still will put life into the mark. So again, and that will be based on observation in this sort of emotional and visual observation. So it's responsive as well. And that for me, that's the thing. I think whilst you're not dependent on these methods or devices or whatever to accurately fix or check your accuracy, you will grow quicker. That's it. I think two things that I'll guarantee that will grow you'll grow as an artist generally is that never draw the same thing twice, and learn to value your mistakes. It's one of those things that people don't kind of focus on. They focus on repetition, learning through repetition, and creativity doesn't necessarily thrive when it's repeated. It's a bit like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I mentioned about the training thing that I did, and I worked in training. And there was a term, I can't remember what it is, but it's that long ago now. It's got to be at least 10 years. So, and it's a word I've gladly forgotten. Development of applications, and but basically, it meant this term meant that it was a repeatable skill. It wasn't just a one-off thing. But I kind of like the idea with creativity. I kind of like it being a one-off thing. The chance that it might never ever happen again. How many great works have you seen where it's kind of a one-hit wonder? and the rest of them are fairly, great artists, and the rest of them are fairly mediocre. How many of those have you seen? I've seen quite a few of that kind of thing. I love one painting that someone's done, but not the rest. And even contemporaries, there are quite a few that are like that. And obviously, some days you're on it, and some days you're not, and so consequently, you're going to be producing the goods, and then one day, it's that uncertainty. Again, it's creativity lives in the unknown and the uncertain, and it thrives. It thrives in environments where you're exploring things. They say creativity is the thing between. It's the thing that happens when knowledge and learning isn't enough. That's what they say. So I like that. I like the idea of it being something more than just something you read in a book, or something that has been practiced over and over again, so it becomes embedded knowledge, and it's a repetition of someone's technique. So I kind of like all that. I like the idea of it being unpredictable. And I think if you think about it, the times that people have talked about creative people, they're often the word unpredictable is often used to describe creative people. So for me, that is a thing that I think I value that more than anything else. This may not work, and it's a great thing to feel, because it's the only thing that keeps me. I mean, if this was just the usual sort of same old, going through the process, going through the the Loomis to start with and all that sort of thing, if we're doing that every time, I'd be bored silly. I don't want that kind of guaranteed outcome. I want it to be the opposite of guaranteed. and I as I said, it's a funny thing is doing this. I know from doing this with people, and the first thing that strikes me is that they want to learn how to make a portrait that guaranteed outcome portrait every time. They want it to work every time, and then because I have got no perceived structure to this, that I have, but it's not enough. It's not obvious enough that you can see what I'm doing. But because I haven't, or as I say, perceived that I haven't, that they kind of struggle with the idea of doing this, and because it's unknown, and people are scared of the unknown. There's other things as well, the real world comparison stuff. It's like, if I'm going to spend an hour on that, then I want something for it, that kind of thing. There's all those silly things that people inherit from the Muggle world, where it's quantified and measured and all that sort of thing. You can't do that with creativity. You can't quantify and measure creativity. Its value is indefinable, and that's what it should be. But as I said, it scares people mostly, that kind of thinking. So it's when I start talking about embracing your mistakes and not checking your errors, then that's a